Hello, I'm Grace Bauer with the Campaign for Youth Justice. I am a field organizer mostly for families of kids who are involved in the justice system. I think having a strong system of support, whether that's family or otherwise, so a network to hold on to them, to keep them from falling through the cracks and ended up in the pitfalls that seem to follow kids once they're released. I think juvenile detention facilities are lacking the belief that families are valuable in their systems and through their processes. I think they tend to alienate families and blame families rather than include families in the work that they're doing with the kids that would create better outcomes. They're not allowing the family connections that really need to stay in place while kids are in detention, if kids have to be in detention. If they could keep those family connections going the entire time they're in the facilities, I think that they would find that those kids come out stronger on the other side. And I think they're not providing the education needed in the job skills, or not necessarily job skills for the younger people, but skills that kids need to make it out in the real world. And ultimately, they just put too many kids in detention. The more they could keep out, the better off those kids will be. The belief that the system has that families are the problem. Families can't be a part of their children's lives or help out in the treatment process if they're considered to be the problem rather than part of the solution. I think the Family Justice Act will keep kids connected more to their families and keep their families connected more to their children and engage families in a more active way in the process of their children being in detention facilities. And I think that can only help to strengthen family bonds. By bringing families in and viewing them as valuable parts of the process, it will help to create transparency in their systems and allow systems to know what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, what's helpful, what's not helpful. It's almost like an evaluation process. And how do we know if what we're doing is right if we never take the time to evaluate it? I think the most important provision is that it would bring families into the work of detention administrators across the country, and it would create an opportunity for systems to work side by side with families, not only strengthening the family network that needs to be strengthened, but also strengthening systems and helping systems be more accountable to the youth they serve. If systems incorporated the Family Justice Act recommendations from the heart of the matter rather than just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So I think if systems across the country just say, okay, we're going to have this involvement of families in our systems, and it's all about checking the box, that we're not going to see any difference at all. But if system stakeholders embrace the family's involvement in the system and utilize the assets that the families bring to the table, then we could see something much different, systems that would produce much better outcomes in the long run for kids and our communities as a whole. Visit us on the web at campaignforyouthjustice.org. Read about the act, find out what it does. Send letters to your senators, call your senators, let them know that you support this and that you ask them to support it as well. And you can also ask other organizations or groups that you belong to do the same thing.